he is selling. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 4. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 4.
Hello, Brian Park speaking.
Oh, hello. I'm calling about the advert in the paper.
For the car?
Yes, the Mini you've got advertised for sale.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to find out a bit more information.
Of course. What would you like to know?
It's my brother who's interested, actually, but he's not in today, so he asked me to call you.
Fine.
Great, thanks. So, it's a Mini,
Yep.
and how old is it?
Just coming up to 13 years old.
And I seem to remember from the ad that it's grey.
That's it. Doesn't show the dirt.
Absolutely. Anyway, the colour shouldn't be a problem for Jeff. You know, the important thing is the quality.
Yes, of course.
And what about mileage? With it being pretty old, it's probably over 100,000?
Actually, it's 40,000 less than that. 62,000 on the clock.
Great! I remember now. I'm confusing it with another ad I was looking at.
Right. Pleasant surprise then.
Yeah. Have you been the only owner, or was there a previous one?
I'm the second one. Before, it was owned by a teacher who was a very careful driver. Didn't have any accidents.
Very good. And what about you? What do you tend to use it for?
I haven't used it all that much, mostly for shopping. You know the sort of thing.
So not much wear and tear. I'll make a note of that. I know Jeff wanted me to check that.
Right.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 5 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 5 to 10.
Now, about the price, I see you've got it down as £1,250. I'm not sure Jeff will be able to come up with that amount.
In the ad, I did say 1,250 or nearest offer.
So would you be prepared to go down to 1,000?
That's really too low, I'm afraid.
1,100?
I might be able to go to that.
Okay, I'll make a note of that. What about tax? Is it due soon?
Got another 5 months before it's due.
Oh, that's a real plus, yes. I'll make a note of that.
Okay.
Now, you say it's in good condition.
For its age, I'd say yes, definitely. It's just been serviced and there were no major problems.
Major.
I'd be able to show you the service report. The only thing is, you'd have to get a new tyre in the near future. Though it's still okay, you know. It's certainly absolutely safe at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. Yes, I understand.
And the garage also mentioned that one headlight could probably do with replacing. They think there's a fault there, you know, intermittent.
Well, we'd obviously look at all the documents, but that sounds very straightforward.
Of course. I've got all the service documents up to date and you can look at those.
Well, it all sounds pretty good, and I know my brother will be interested, so would it be possible for him to see the car? He's back from his trip tomorrow and away tonight, so how about tomorrow?
Tomorrow? Wednesday? I'm afraid that's not possible. I'm out pretty much all day.
Well, Thursday then?
That'd be fine, yeah.
In the morning?
Yes, that'd suit me perfectly.
great.
Now, you'll need my address.
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
It's number 238,
238?
London Road.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yes, very straightforward.
So I'll pass on these notes to Jeff, and he'll see you in a couple.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
Part 2. You are going to hear a travel agent discussing a holiday booking with 2 customers.
Look at questions 11 to 13.
Good morning. Can I help you?
Yes, good morning. We'd like to book a holiday for July, please.
Certainly. Where did you have in mind?
Oh, well, we haven't thought a lot about it, really. We'd just like to go somewhere hot, and it must be in July.
I see. Well, let's get the dates cleared up first, then we can see about availability. What part of July were you thinking of?
Oh, well, you see, we have slightly different holidays. I've got the whole month except for the last 5 days, so I could go from the 1st to the 26th. But my friend here doesn't start until the 7th, so I suppose it will have to be the middle 2 weeks, really.
Yes, but I've got to be back before the 23rd.
OK. Now, let's find a destination.
Before the talk continues, look at questions 14 to 20. As you listen to the second part of the talk, answer the questions.
Any preferences? France? Italy?
Oh, not France. We went there last year, and it was absolutely packed with teenagers, making noise and getting drunk all the time.
Yes, it was terrible. We definitely want somewhere quieter this year.
Well, of course, it depends more on the resort rather than the country. There are resorts in every country which cater for the family or the slightly older person. They're usually a shade more expensive, though, as you might expect.
Oh, well, we don't mind paying a bit more if it means more peace and quiet, do we?
Definitely not. It'll be well worth it.
All right, let's have a look at what we've got on the computer. July. Was it 10 or 14 nights you wanted?
Oh, the fortnight, please.
Right. Well, let's start with Italy. We've got 14 nights bed and breakfast in Sorrento for £345 from Manchester on the 14th. Or we've got...
No, wait a minute. That's no good for me. We wouldn't get back till the 28th, and I've got to be back at work before that.
Ah, yes. How about Sweden? 2 weeks, half board?
How much would that be?
That would be £540 from Manchester again.
Well, 540... that seems too much.
Well, madam, There's a surcharge for the airport, and it has a 5-star hotel.
Oh, well, it's a bit over our budget, really.
All right, let's try somewhere else. How about Portugal?
Oh, that sounds great. We've never been there before, have we?
Let's see now. We've got 14 nights in Albufeira, half board, from Gatwick, for £385.
Albufeira? Oh, wait a minute. Did you say the flight was from London?
That's right, from Gatwick.
Oh, well, we'd prefer a flight from the north somewhere. Manchester, perhaps, or even Glasgow.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3. Part 3.
You will hear 2 conversations. Are based on the following conversation. The answer should be appropriate to the content of this conversation.
First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
Oh, hi Dave. Long time no see.
Hi, Maria. I just settled down. I thought I'd drop by.
Come on in, take a seat. Would you like anything to drink? I have Sprite and orange juice.
Sprite would be fine. Oh, so how have you been?
Oh, not bad. And you?
Oh, I'm doing okay, but school has been really busy these days, and I haven't had time to relax.
By the way, what's your major?
Hotel management.
Well, what do you want to do once you graduate?
I haven't decided for sure, but I think I'd like to work for a hotel or travel agency in this area. How about you?
Well, when I first started college, I wanted to major in French, but I realised I might have a hard time finding a job using the language, so I changed my major to computer science. With the right skills, landing a job in the computer industry shouldn't be too difficult.
So, do you have a part-time job to support yourself through school?
Well, fortunately for me, I received a 4-year academic scholarship that pays for all of my tuition and books.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, how about you? Are you working your way through school?
Yeah, I work 3 times a week at a restaurant near campus.
Oh, what do you do there?
I'm a cook.
How do you like your job?
It's okay. The other workers are friendly and the pay isn't bad.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
Several days later, Dave and Maria met on campus. So what do you want to do tomorrow?
Well, let's look at this city guide here. Here's something interesting. Why don't we first visit the art museum in the morning.
OK, I like that idea. And where do you want to have lunch?
How about going to an Indian restaurant? The guide recommends one downtown, a few blocks from the museum.
Now that sounds great. After that, what do you think about visiting the zoo? Well, it says here that there are some very unique animals not found anywhere else.
Well, to tell the truth, I'm not really interested in going there. Yeah, why don't we go shopping instead? There are supposed to be some really nice places to pick up souvenirs.
No, I don't think that's a good idea. We only have a few traveller's checks left, and I only have $50 left in cash.
No problem. We can use your credit card to pay for my clothes.
Oh no, I remember the last time you used my credit card for your purchases.
Oh well, let's take the subway down to the seashore and walk along the beach.
Now that sounds like a wonderful plan.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Part 4.
I'd like to talk about the changes to our leisure time, and I'll start by talking about lifestyle changes over recent years for women.
First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
I'd like to talk about the changes to our leisure time, and I'll start by talking about lifestyle changes over recent years for women. As we all know, the wife and mother of the family has traditionally been responsible for organising and completing household tasks for the family. However, particularly over the last decade or so, we have seen a greater number of women continuing to work after marriage and returning to work after having children. This has significantly reduced the amount of time available for household chores. The result is that nowadays the majority of people own and regularly use products such as dishwashers or microwaves. The modern family often considers hours spent on cleaning and cooking as a waste of valuable time, and generally we are all interested in finding ways of reducing the number of hours we need to devote to such tasks. While washing machines have long been thought of as necessities by families, nowadays so too are microwaves and dishwashers. These goods can drastically reduce the amount of time we need to spend running our home and increase the amount of time available not only to go to work, but also to spend on leisure pursuits. As society develops and we become richer, we put more value on our leisure time and our possessions. The richer a society, the more demanding it becomes. People are no longer happy to work long hours for little return. Expensive holidays, expensive clothes and cars all become more important the more materialistic the society in which we live. Acquiring things and joining the race of acquisition means that modern society spends a lot of time and money purchasing unnecessary goods. Although expensive and persuasive marketing techniques are partly responsible, the demand for such goods often comes from young professionals, those with the money to endlessly upgrade things simply because a better model is made available. Our obsession with the newest and best products available, while good for the economy, can also have a negative impact on the environment. It is not appropriate to overproduce appliances and overuse electricity to keep these unnecessary appliances operating in our homes. We often forget about the damage we have done to and continue to do to the environment. Others opposed to the overuse of appliances and technology also argue that from a social point of view, over-reliance on gadgets means that people are losing the ability to be creative. Traditionally, it was considered an enviable skill to prepare meals night after night for our families. Nowadays, women are more likely to gain approval from others